Welcome to Astrodology, the podcast that brings you knowledge, wisdom, and principles that can help you find the peace and comfort we all seek and deserve in our lives. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Astrodology with Astrid. I hope this message finds you well. I'm recording this on Good Friday in April, on the 18th, 2025. It's a very sacred time in April due to Passover, focusing on freedom and liberation, and with the rising and the rebirth of Jesus Christ. So I hope you have some good things planned this weekend. But first and foremost, I want to remind you that this truly is a time that we are taking care of ourselves as best as we can, really making this year about prioritizing our mental, physical, emotional, and physical health. And the topic I'm going to talk about today is going to be a great guide in facilitating your support in doing so. When I say this is one of my favorite topics to talk about, I really mean it, because the circadian rhythm, have you ever heard about it? I'm going to explain it today and just give you some top line information about why it's so important to understand, to know, and to connect to your circadian rhythm. So the circadian rhythm, what is it? In a nutshell, it's a human body clock that is governed by day and night. It's a 24-hour cycle in our lives. And what's great about it is that it governs animals, people, and nature. So everything on the earth, every species, all life form is governed by the circadian rhythm. The theory is we not only have one clock, there is specific gland in the body that governs the circadian rhythm, but we actually have several clocks in our body. But the main one is the hypothalamus primordial part of the brain and eyes. So the hypothalamus gland is considered the primordial part of the brain and eyes, and the energy between the brain and the eyes sets forth a 24-hour clock, kind of like a timer. And then this dictates when we are to be at our most alert, our most coordinated, or most balanced in our lives. And what's cool about this is it also interfaces with our digestion and our nervous systems. So the idea is in the morning when we wake up, we want to be ramped up when we first wake up. We want to hit the ground running. We want to capitalize on the energy that we have. So the idea is we want to stack the odds in our favor for the day ahead. And the circadian rhythm is a tool that can help us do it. So this again allows us to be at our most energetic and our most focused. You know, our ancestors had to do this because they had to go out for foraging and, going way back, hunting opportunities to bring in food. But in our modern lives, this represents seeing new possibilities and kind of being strategic about our lives. You know, it is said that the circadian rhythm can help you even maybe find a mate if that is what you're looking for, because when your brain is turned on, your energy is alive and awakened, you know, the possibilities are endless. So the idea is these clocks govern how we be, you know, heard the saying being. So it's a specific rhythm cycle that is also supportive of organs and glands in our bodies. So everything in the body goes according to a master clock. And this is the body's effort to continually and constantly maintain balance. The body only knows balance and health. Anything counter to being in balance and being healthy is against your body. We have a brilliant, amazing system in our bodies. I truly believe that the body is still the greatest computer that's ever been created. I know AI is out there, and I'm very excited about AI because I feel like We can work together with AI. We don't have to be threatened by it. AI is another tool that can inform us and actually make our lives easier. So the idea is we want to capitalize on our own energy wherever possible. So when you bang a knee, you bruise yourself, you burn yourself, your body goes into instant reparation mode. And the more your balance is in harmony with the day-night activity, the quicker the healing will happen. So we're supposed to be more active in the AM, and then towards the afternoon start to wind down as we get closer to the evening. I know in the world of traditional working hours, when people take their lunch, there's a term called the afternoon slump. Well, that is true because, you've taken in food and your body has to process it. And when your body's trying to process and you're trying to finish out the back half of your work, you feel a little tired. I believe this is the circadian rhythm in effect because around 3:34, just as the energy, the sun starts to wane for the day, so does our energy. So it's a match. So the sun is the primary source of energy. All life forms rely on the sun for life force energy. We know this very well. We typically are happier and more joyful during the summer months. And if you live in parts of the country where, there's overcast time, like sometimes beach communities, people are kind of surprised of the overcast nature in the summertime, especially a place like San Francisco. A lot of people go there in the summertime, foreigners and visitors from out of state, surprised at how chilly it is. But the idea is we need light in our eyes. So the sun provides the light. So even when it's overcast, it's important to get that light into your eyes. So we are connected to this energy. So when the sun rises in nature, it also rises in our bodies. So our solar plexus, the area around the stomach, the navel center, aka your core, your dantian, in yoga we call it one's own abode. This is your power center. It is your CPU, your central processing unit for your body, your mind, and your energy. So that is why eating and food is also related to this energy. It is part of the process of this energy. Let's talk about the hypothalamus, because the hypothalamus sends information to the third eye, the pineal gland. So the pineal gland, aka in the chakra world or the chakra world, however you want to say it, is where our intuition, our high level of intuition and our insight comes from. So the health of each cell in the body depends on the degree we allow the body to be in harmony with the cycle of day and night. So there's research that's starting to show that this really helps us become more balanced. And one of the overdriving features of working with the circadian rhythm is sleep. We are living in a society where people are having so much issues with sleeping. I work in the supplement and the nutrition world, and one of the number one things that people come in for is something to help them with sleep. Now, what's great is that these modern sleep aids and formulas are natural. They come from nature. So there are herbs and plants out there that naturally aid us, that won't harm us and won't turn into an addiction. So I believe that being off the circadian rhythm really contributes to a lot of the sleeplessness that we are experiencing in our culture. So the idea is to get a rhythm set. As best as you can, we want to try to rise at the same time of day, and we want to go to sleep at the same time at night. Now, my schedule varies, so this becomes a challenge. But I have a window. You can have a framework of within this window, you're going to go to bed and wake up at the same time, even on your day off, even on vacation. I know on vacation it's time to have fun, but wherever you can, because any deviation from the circadian rhythm of getting that light inside of the eyes in the morning causes a secretion of abnormal hormones. So let's talk about this. So in the day when we wake up, you can do what I call sunshine walks. I look forward to it. Or sunshine stands. You don't have to take a walk, but what you need to do is spend at least 15 to 30 minutes outdoors with your eyes, absorbing that great sunlight energy. Especially, like I said, on overcast days, just because you don't see the sun does not mean we're not receiving the energy of the sun. In fact, the gloomier it is, the more vital it is that you get that energy into your eyes. You don't have to stare up into the sky. The light will come in through the retina in different directions in the eyes. Once you start just taking on this just 10, 15 minutes a day, you can stand on your porch, you can stand in your patio, you can walk to the park, however you want to do it, but try to make it a priority. Just experiment with it. I'm a fan of vetting things out. Sometimes we have to have the direct experience for ourselves in order to get it. So I started calling it a sunshine walk. That got me really motivated and interested in doing it. I love the term sunshine walk, and I put it in my journaling calendar as a sunshine walk. Just even seeing that makes me happy. And it doesn't take very long, depending on your disposition, but within a matter of a few days, when I started doing these sunshine walks, I noticed I was starting to yawn in the evening as the light was going down. I also recognized that it's habits and activities. So shifting my activities. Luckily, I've been a morning person. I'm one of those people who is a conundrum. I love to stay up late, but I also love, and I mean love, to actually get up early in the morning. So I've always preferred to work out early in the morning. And this goes along with the circadian rhythm. There were times in my life, due to my schedule, I had no choice but to exercise in the evening. So the idea is, if you must exercise in the evening, let it be your yoga practice, let it be your stretching practice, let it be maybe just riding the bike. Save your high intensity running and high level activities for the daytime, because when you do ramped up activities in the evening, especially in a lot of artificial light, you interrupt the circadian rhythm. So the two hormones that we want to be aware of is serotonin and melatonin. So in the daytime, when that light's hitting the eyes, it turns on serotonin. Serotonin gives us the fuel and the energy to move forward. So probably around the afternoon, because the hypothalamus is the regulator of these two hormones, in the afternoon, that energy starts to wane. So as the sun sets and starts to go down, so does the rise in melatonin production. We do not want melatonin raised in the daytime, in the morning. People who work midnight shift, people who work afternoon shifts, people who travel a lot, especially abroad, the circadian rhythm gets off kilter. I don't have an answer for how you fix that, except for the one thing that you could possibly do is try to rise and go to bed at the exact same time. See, the body is smart. So I believe that the body will adjust even if you aren't. So whenever you can go out and get the sun in your eyes, just do it. So, the body's clocks, these clocks are controlled by the circadian rhythm. So the idea is at night, we want melatonin. So one of the interrupters to melatonin is artificial light. This artificial light comes from our computer screens, they come from our television screens, and our cell phones are huge disruptors of melatonin production in the evening. I remember when I was raising my sons, when they were old enough to, have their own bedrooms and do their own things, I remember saying, turn off those lights. Like if there was excess light in the hallway, they walked out of the bathroom without turning on the light. They had multiple lights on in the kitchen. I instinctively would say, turn those lights down, turn that off. I said, "Do you see outside? The sun's gone down. It's starting to close off and get dark. So it's time for you to settle down." And I guess that was something me distinctly tapping into about the circadian rhythm. Honestly, I didn't understand the power of the circadian rhythm until about 4 or 5 years ago myself. I had heard of the term, but I didn't really understand it. So it's vital that we connect with it. So studies have shown that, there is a relationship to food. So when we eat food, the eyes are so important when it comes to food. We already know this. There's a term that says we eat with our eyes. So the information comes through our eyes and alerts our brains as to the time of day. So imagine when we wake up, we get that sunlight in the eyes. It alerts it, hey, it's morning, it's daytime. Let's go, serotonin. But if you're having bright lights on in the evening, the brain and the mind still thinks that it is daytime. But this is the time that you want melatonin to click in. So the idea is we're not really meant to eat too late in the evenings. Our ancestors ate supper, that they called it, or dinner around 4:30. So when we eat too late, it causes disruptions in our circadian rhythm. So the idea is we want to start secreting the hormone that the brain calls melatonin to help us become sleepy and to help us come relaxed. So melatonin sometimes is called rest and digest. Rest and digest. So these peripheral clocks show that eating too late at night can have a negative impact. I'm guilty of eating too late at night. It's something that I struggle with and I try to do as best as I can. So if I must eat late at night, I try to eat as light as I can. But the negative impacts can affect your cardiovascular health, your metabolic markers like blood pressure, blood glucose. And what I found interesting is I was reading that when you eat late at night, we think in the morning when we wake up the next day, like, gosh, I ate so late, I couldn't possibly be hungry the next day. But when you wake up in the morning, I found, I don't know if you find this, that I have been even more hungry the later I have actually eaten. So there is a drop in your resting metabolic rate the next day. And the next day you burn fewer calories, because the idea is all of this is insulin that's running through the body. And when we're off the circadian rhythm, suffice it to say, we disrupt our natural flow of the body. For centuries, this is nothing new. Our ancestors understood, respected all the indigenous cultures in Eastern Asia, Africa, Europe, all recognize the sweetness and the sacredness of daylight. It was important to them, especially before fire was created, where they could have that light. But because they were so close to nature, during the agricultural phase of life, they had to rely on the sun. So they naturally were tired, 5, 6 o'clock in the evening and heading towards bed so they could get up at 3:30, 4:30 in the morning to start the day. So your circadian rhythm is the 24-hour internal clock that aligns our bodies with the natural world. It's governed by the hypothalamus, and because it's critical, the hypothalamus is critical because it helps with functions like hormone production, digestion, and your body temperature. And it uses external cues about the atmosphere coming from, is it light, is it dark, to adjust and set. That's why I say the body is so unbelievable. So any deviation from the circadian rhythm can cause a secretion of abnormal hormones called melatonin and serotonin, leading to erratic biorhythms, which can subsequently disturb the harmonic functions of our bodies. And when the body's harmonic functions are off, this causes disease and illness. When we are out of sync, we can have headaches, depression, catch colds very easily, come down with viruses. Again, I'm seeing a lot of people complaining of headaches because the pineal gland controls reproduction of our sleep and all our motor activities like blood pressure and cellular renewal. So research is showing that disrupted circadian rhythms are heavily linked to mood disorders, and it highlights how closely our internal clocks and emotional well-being are tied into the circadian rhythm. All of the rules on a regular melatonin cycle control our body's ability to be synchronized with the natural clocks in nature. You know, this is a very spiritual perspective that we are one. We are not separate from nature. We are part of the natural world. When we are exposed to light at night, it's unnatural because the pineal gland, and this is very important, the pineal gland does not produce melatonin. Melatonin, when the lights are on at night, the pineal gland does not produce melatonin because it doesn't recognize that it is evening. Melatonin in the blood regenerates the entire body. Melatonin in the blood regenerates the entire body. So I know a lot of people think of melatonin only as the sleep hormone, but it regulates so much in the body. So again, morning sunlight exposure is critical and plays a vital role in helping us reset our circadian clock and improving our overall sleep quality. It's not argued any longer how vital sleep is for the human body and being. Now, some people do actually require a little less sleep. They don't have to get 8 hours. But I think the studies show that if you're not getting 8 hours, the hours that you are getting, as long as you're going through the cycle of REM and you're going to a deep sleep, you're going through the complete cycle, you can feel refreshed. So natural light in the morning significantly enhances our sleep patterns, and it helps to reduce insomnia. So if you suffer from insomnia, I urge you to do the circadian rhythm. Make it a priority. Now, I was taught that within 2 to 4 hours of waking up, you want to get out and get that sunlight in your eyes. But late afternoon, especially in the summertime, when the sun is still shining, I think it's still vital. I've had to take my sunshine walks around 3:30 in the afternoon. And again, it still stimulates my rest and digest when the evening comes. So if you're putting this, prioritizing the light and the evening, you know, the cycles of the light and evening, if you pair this with habits that you create a consistent wake-up time, this will further strengthen your internal circadian rhythm clock. So it allows your body to seamlessly transition between the energy of rest, between the cycles of energy and the cycles of rest. So the idea is aim to spend at least 15 to 30 minutes a day if you can. And finally, one of the important pieces to all of this is how we manage the evening light. So blue light from our screens, LED from televisions, our cell phones disrupts melanin production, and it tricks the brain into thinking it's daytime. Our cell phones are a huge culprit of it. I'm not mad at the cell phone. The cell phone technology has changed all of our lives, but like any other thing, it's a tool that has to be managed. When I got my new iPhone, I have my protection screen is set to block the blue lights. But what I also do is back it up with blue blocker glasses. Thanks to my son, Austin, he had me and my other son and multiple people get blue blocker glasses. I've got mine on Amazon. They're not expensive and they actually look kind of cute. But when you wear the blue blockers, starting around 6:30 p.m., you start to erase or eliminate this light, this blue ray light that keeps our energy ramped up. It's okay to watch Netflix, watch your favorite shows to wind down in the evening. But what is not okay is all of that blue light making your body think that it's still the daytime. So no wonder when you try to go to bed, you have a lot of wakefulness. Some people think it's the content that you watch before you go to bed, and I agree with that as well. The content that we watch is important, but I think it's less important than blocking out the blue rays. If you don't have blue blocker glasses, at least start turning off your devices and settling things down at least 1 hour before you go to sleep. So regular sleep and wake times further anchor and lock in your circadian rhythm. Oh my goodness, this is such an amazing topic. Everything is searchable, so I hope that I've inspired you to start looking into what the circadian rhythm means. There's a plethora of information out there. I just wanted this to be a kickstart for you to start looking into this superpower that we have that occurs naturally. There's nothing to buy, there's nothing to purchase. It's already innately in us, and that's the exciting news. I have upcoming something I'm very excited about. I love meditation. Meditation has been a cornerstone of my practices for ages, and I want to start doing what I call a circadian rhythm nervous system reset meditation. I know it's a mouthful. And thinking about the timing of this, I thought about Sunday as the perfect day for this, because Sunday is the day where we close off the weekend. Again, given that you work a traditional work schedule, and even if you don't, each day of the week governs our energy. So Sunday, no matter what you're doing on Sunday, because the rest of the world, especially who work traditionally, contribute to that energy. So the idea is to, and this is going to be online only, because I believe in being comfortable and meditating. So the idea is to start the meditation practice at 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. This way you close off the hyperness of the weekend and you prepare yourself, you ground yourself for the week ahead. We are going to have to continually ongoing reset our nervous system. We don't just reset it through one practice and then we're done. We're in a time-space reality where we're going to have to constantly keep resetting our nervous system because of the charged up things that are happening in our world. More information to come on it. The second part that I'm excited about for this class, and I have other classes tied in as well, I'm going back to when I first started teaching. I started teaching on a donation basis. People would come in, take the class, and donate at the end what they could afford. This is not my idea. It's my yoga teacher, Brian Kest. And for the majority of my 25 years, a fair majority of my teaching was around donation. So it's donation based on a sliding scale. I have 3 plans for you to choose from so you can pay what you can afford. And if you absolutely cannot afford anything, I ask you to reach out to me directly. You can email me, you can text me. My information is available on my website at codalife.com. But this is my way of giving back because we're in such crazy emotional, mental times, as well as financially. Honest to goodness, it destroys my heart to see what it costs to take a yoga practice. Even back in the day when yoga classes were $10, $12, or $15, it seemed like a lot back then, but at least donation basis allowed people to practice. And then when people got more money, they would donate more. But to see classes around $30, $32 on average for a yoga practice, it makes yoga an elitist practice. And you know, yoga comes from a country where the caste system hurt people. And so it's always been fascinating to me that a tool so simple as yoga or meditation can cost so much. So that's part of my work because I'm here to help people understand that we have the power to heal ourselves. And meditating at home in your own environment, I hope to encourage you to create the habit to continue. I am going to suggest that you do the meditation sitting or lying in bed because that is going to trigger your body's ability to start to calm down. Also, will be right in the peak of the circadian rhythm. And if you fall asleep during the meditation, fantastic. So it's going to be a teaching as well. So before we actually meditate and you go into the reset circadian piece, I'm going to talk to you about a quality. There'll be a theme. So I'm really looking forward to it. So I hope you'll join me. Since it's online, you could be anywhere in America, anywhere in the world, any time zone, you can join us. And if not, you can join in the replay. I thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Astrodology with Astrid. Your support means the world to me. I thank you so much. Please, please, please take very good care of yourself. Put your oxygen mask on first so that you can help others. Until the next episode of Astrodology with Astrid, I send you peace, love, joy, and unbounded grace from God and the universe. Namaste, everybody. Thank you for listening to Astrodology. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to help support the podcast, please hit the subscribe button and tell your friends about it by sharing this program on social media. You can also follow me on Instagram at Coda Life Goddess or at codalife.com. Coda is C-O-T-A, Coda Life Goddess or codalife.com. Thank you again for listening to Astrodology, and I'll see you next time.